Hey, this is Ryan, and today I'm going to continue on with another tutorial, and this is going to be for Elasticache. So Elasticache is useful because, for example, sometimes you need a lower latency that you can get from your primary data store. Perhaps you have a common request flow in your application that is read significantly more often than is written. For these situations, you may want to use in-memory cache to help. You can save the results of frequently read queries to a cache to improve response time and reduce pressure on your primary database. And in this tutorial, we will use the Redis engine as opposed to Memcache. Just like last time, let's load up another Cloud9 environment. I already have mine set up here. So we are in our environment directory and we need to download our files for this tutorial. And actually, this link here is wrong. We're going to change this. Instead of restaurant DynamoDB, we want to change that to restaurant-cache. I guess this just wasn't updated for that tutorial. So let's try that. And here's our files. Now let's install our requirements. And last time I had an issue installing Redis, so I'm gonna run one more command. Just add a -user to make sure it's installed properly. Okay. Cloud9 setup. Now moving on to our actual tutorial. Step 2, create a Redis instance by using Elasticache. Go over to your AWS console and find Elasticache. We're going to use Redis instead of Memcache, so click Redis, create. Okay, create your Amazon Elasticache cluster. So we have Redis selected, Amazon Cloud. Need to give it a name. Restaurants Cache. Port 6379. And we do want to change our node type. So let's change this to T2 micro. Don't need any replicas. So no multi-AZ. Okay, subnet group. Subnet group is fine. Security group. So keep an eye on your default security group name. I'll have to come back to that. Yeah, let's try create. Okay, our cluster is created. Next, we need to allow inbound access to our security group for your Redis instance from your AWS Cloud9 environments. So open up a new tab and go to EC2. Navigate to security groups. Alright, so we have our Cloud9 security group. I want to copy this because we'll need this ID in a second. So mine is SG0234. And find our default security group where our Redis instance is under. So select that, inbound rules. And we want to add a rule for, I think it's port 6379. And we need inbound access from, I'll just try typing in cloud. Okay, Cloud9. Yeah, this is the only one I got for this security group, so select that and save rule. Okay, we have our inbound rule set up. Next, we need to test connection to our Redis instance from our Cloud9 environments. Okay, find the value for the primary endpoint and copy the value. So let's go back to Elasticache, select our cluster, and we want to copy the primary endpoint. So copy that, put that in my notes. also need to copy this command. And then replace your primary endpoint with our actual endpoint. Okay, so we will copy this, go back to our Cloud9, and I'll have to paste that in here and just enter it. So we do have a test connection.python script, and that will pull this Redis host name. It's up here in the script. So now that that's set up, we want to run the script, test connection.py. So we'll do python test connection.python. And it says connected to Redis, which means it worked properly. All right, now that we're connected, let's go to step 3, implement a cache aside strategy with your instance. So what this big block of text is going to tell you is that there's 2 different types of strategies that you can use for caching. One of them is to automatically cache your data as soon as you send a first request to pull that data. So that after you do that, then the next time it'll cache. And then the second strategy is to have your data cached ahead of time. And that is called write-ahead caching. And the first one is called cache aside. What we'll do is cache aside. So when we make a request to pull the data, then it'll cache it for the next time. And here's a couple scripts you can look at to see how this works. So the first one, there's a file named fetch restaurant summary.python in your AWS Cloud9 environment. So it checks the Redis cache for the restaurant summary. If the data exists, then it's returned to the user. If not, it'll retrieve the summary and it'll cache it for future requests. Then we have a cache Python file. It contains the code for interacting with the Redis cache. The first function is for storing a restaurant summary in Redis. It also has a time to live value. And this is set to 900, which is 15 minutes. So the data would be cached for 15 minutes. You can easily change this. Okay, you can test this cache by running the following command. Copy that and paste. It says using uncached result, which means this is the first time that we're pulling the data, and it should cache this data for the next search. So if we run this command one more time, it's going to say using cached results. So that means it's pulling the data that we already searched before. And that's it for the tutorial already. So in the little write-up down here, it says the cache aside strategy can be an easy way to boost the application performance and reduce load on your primary database. So that was pretty simple. It's definitely a useful tool. And I think that's all I want to do with databases for now, so I'm just going to delete everything we created, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.